The House of Fear by Leonora Carrington. Ooh. One day, toward midday, as I was walking in a certain neighborhood, I met a horse who stopped me. "Come with me," he said, bending his head towards a street that was dark and narrow. "I've something I particularly want to show you." "I haven't the time," I replied, but nevertheless I followed him. We came to a door on which he knocked with his left hoof. The door opened, we went in. I thought I'd be late for lunch. There were a number of creatures in ecclesiastical dress. "Do go upstairs," they told me. "There you'll see our beautiful inlaid floor. It is completely made of turquoise, and the tiles are stuck together with gold." Surprised by such a welcome, I nodded my head and made a sign to the horse to show me this treasure. The staircase had enormously high steps, but we went up without difficulty, the horse and I. "You know, it isn't really as beautiful as all that," he told me in a low voice, "but one's got to make a living, hasn't one?" All of a sudden, we saw the turquoise paving which covered the floor of a large empty room. In fact, the tiles were well fitted together with gold, and the blue was dazzling. I gazed at it politely, the horse thoughtfully. "Well, you see, I'm really bored by this job. I only do it for the money. I don't really belong in these surroundings. I'll show you next time there's a party." After due reflection, I said to myself that it's easy to see that this horse isn't just an ordinary horse. Having reached this conclusion, I felt I should get to know him better. "I'll certainly come to your party. I'm beginning to think I rather like you." "You yourself are an improvement on the usual run of customers," he replied. "I'm very good at telling the difference between ordinary people and those with a certain understanding. I've got the gift of immediately getting right inside a person's soul." I smiled anxiously. "And when is the party?" "It's this evening. Put on some warm clothes." That was odd, for outside the sun was shining brightly. Going down the stairs at the far end of the room, I noticed with surprise that the horse managed much better than I. The ecclesiastics had disappeared, and I left without anyone seeing me go. "At 9 o'clock, the horse said. "I'll call for you at 9. Be sure to let the concierge know." On my way home, I thought to myself that I ought to have asked the horse to dinner. Never mind, I thought. I bought some lettuce and some potatoes for my supper. When I got home, I lit a little fire to prepare my meal. I had a cup of tea, thought about my day, and mostly about the horse, whom, though I'd only known him a short time, I called my friend. I have few friends, and glad to have a horse for a friend. After the meal, I smoked a cigarette and mused on the luxury it would be to go out, instead of talking to myself and boring myself to death with the same endless stories I'm forever telling myself. I'm a very boring person, despite my enormous intelligence and distinguished appearance, and nobody knows this better than I. I've often told myself that if only I were given the opportunity, I'd perhaps become the center of intellectual society. But by dint of talking to myself so much, I tend to repeat the same things all the time. But what can you expect? I'm a recluse. It was in the course of these reflections that my friend the horse knocked on my door, with such force that I was afraid the neighbors would complain. "I'm coming," I called out. In the darkness, I didn't see which direction we were taking. I ran beside him, clinging to his mane for support. Soon I noticed that in front of us, behind us, and on all sides in the open country, were more and more horses. They were staring straight ahead, and each carried some green stuff in its mouth. They were hurrying. The noise of their hoofs shook the earth. The cold became intense. "This party takes place every year," the horse said. "It doesn't look as if they were enjoying themselves much," I said. "We're visiting the Castle of Fear. She's the mistress of the house." The castle stood ahead of us. and he explained that it was built of stones that held the cold of winter. Inside it's even colder, he said. And when we got into the courtyard, I realized that he was telling the truth. The horses all shivered, and their teeth chattered like castanets. I had the impression that all the horses in the world had come to this party, each one with bulging eyes fixed straight ahead, and each one with foam frozen around its lips. I didn't dare speak. I was too terrified. Following one another in single file, we reached a great hall decorated with mushrooms and other fruits of the night. The horses all sat down on their hindquarters, their forelegs rigid. They looked about without moving their heads, just showing the whites of their eyes. I was very much afraid. In front of us, reclining in the Roman fashion on a very large bed, lay the mistress of the house, Fear. She looked slightly like a horse, but was much uglier. Her dressing gown was made of live bats, sewn together by their wings. The way they fluttered, one would have thought they didn't much like it. My friends, she said, weeping and trembling, for 365 days I've been thinking of the best way to entertain you this night. Supper will be as usual, and everyone is entitled to 3 portions. But apart from that, I have thought up a new game, which I think is particularly original, for I've spent a long time perfecting it. I hope with all of my heart that you all will experience the same joy in playing this game as I have found in devising it. A deep silence followed her words. Then she continued. I shall now give you all the details. I shall supervise the game myself, and I shall be the umpire and decide who wins. You must all count backward from 110 to 5, as quickly as possible, while thinking of your own fate and weeping for those who have gone before you. You must simultaneously beat time to the tune of the Volga Boatman, with your left foreleg, the Marseillaise with your right foreleg, and Where Have You Gone, My Last Rose of Summer with your 2 back legs. I had some further details, but I've left them out to simplify the game. Now let us begin. And don't forget that though I can't see all over the hall at once, the good Lord sees everything. I don't know whether it was the terrible cold that excited such enthusiasm. The fact is that the horses began to beat the floor with their hoofs as if they wanted to descend to the depths of the earth. I stayed where I was, hoping she wouldn't see me, but I had an uncomfortable feeling that she could see me very well with her great eye. She had only one eye, but it was 6 times bigger than an ordinary eye. It went on like this for 25 minutes, but